Hey everyone, welcome back to the AI-powered entrepreneur. I'm Nova Sinclair, your AI-powered strategist with a low tolerance for tech that wastes your time.
And I'm Dr. Kim, your resident AI business strategist, systems nerd, and luxury expat, here to make sure you use AI to scale, not to fry your nervous system.
Around here, we talk about using AI, automation, and systems to build real businesses you can actually live with. Not just big revenue months and bigger migraines.
Today's episode is for my burned out CEOs and founders who bought the AI dream and wound up more exhausted than ever. If you've got a stack of tools and still feel like everything depends on you, this is your episode.
We're breaking down why AI is not automatically fixing your burnout, and in some cases is making it worse, plus what to change so the system starts supporting you instead of you babysitting the system.
So if you've ever thought, we added AI, so why am I still the one up at midnight fixing everything? Keep listening.
All right, let's just start with the lie everybody's selling on LinkedIn right now. Just add AI and suddenly you're free, rested, and running your company from a beach with perfect edges and no email. Please. For a lot of CEOs, AI came in and the first thing that got automated was their sanity.
Exactly. And I want to reframe this right away. What most people are calling burnout isn't just about working too many hours. It's not only time on the calendar, it's how many decisions your brain is forced to make all day long. That constant mental tab switching, that's what's exhausting you.
Yes, it's that drip, drip, drip of approve this, fix that, rewrite this. Did you see that? You're not tired because you worked 8 hours. You're tired because in those 8 hours you made 400 tiny judgment calls and carried them around in your head like open browser tabs. And then here comes AI, supposedly to help.
And instead of reducing decisions, it just gives you more drafts to judge.
Say that again. I'm seeing CEOs who thought, cool, I'll plug in this AI tool and it'll just handle my emails, my marketing, my reports. And what actually happened is, now they're the unofficial quality assurance department for every single AI output in the company.
Let's put a picture on that. The CEO wakes up, opens their inbox. There's an AI-generated proposal from sales, AI-drafted captions from marketing, AI summarized meeting notes from operations. None of it can go straight out the door because there are no clear standards. So what happens? The CEO is skimming, editing, second-guessing every single thing.
Does this sound like us? Did the AI hallucinate numbers? Is this legally safe to send? Is this on brand? So the promise was, AI will take work off your plate. The reality? Now you're proofreading robot-generated nonsense at midnight thinking, I could have just written this myself.
And there's actually emerging research hinting at this. A lot of early studies around AI at work show something interesting. When companies adopt AI without structure, people don't necessarily work fewer hours. The work just expands. More tasks, more channels, more expectations to be on all the time because the AI made it faster.
Right. It's that task expansion. Since AI can draft this in 5 minutes, we can do 3 versions, right? Or, since the bot can respond 24/7, you should be watching it 24/7. So the CEO is not only still working, they're now managing more outputs, more touch points, more places something can go left.
Exactly. And on top of that, AI tools introduce a different kind of multitasking. You're jumping between your CRM, your AI writing assistant, your project system, your chatbot dashboard. Each one has notifications, little red dots screaming for your attention. That kind of fractured attention is what really drains your mental battery.
And to make it worse, nobody wants to say out loud, hey, this AI actually made my job harder. Because you're supposed to be the visionary, the one on the cutting edge. So you just quietly suffer, double-checking everything in the background while posting online about how AI changed your life.
So let's give you permission right now. If you feel more tired since you added AI, it doesn't mean you're doing business wrong, and it doesn't mean AI is evil. It means you added automation without structure. And automation without structure multiplies decisions instead of removing them.
That's it. Burnout, especially for CEOs, is really decision fatigue and mental overload, not just hours. We're going to unpack how AI, when it's ungoverned, unstructured, turns you into the bottleneck instead of the boss. And then we're going to show you how to flip it so the tools carry the load instead of you.
Let's zoom into decision fatigue, because that's the silent killer here. You're not just deciding big strategy moves. You're making hundreds of micro decisions all day long, especially when AI is involved. It sounds like this. Should I trust this draft? Is this safe to send? Did the AI follow our tone? Do we need to follow up again?
Yup. And none of those show up on your calendar. There's no little block from 2:15 to 2:25 that says, agonize over whether this AI email sounds passive-aggressive. But your brain is still spending energy on it. You're context switching. You're second-guessing. That's the cognitive load stacking up.
Cognitive load is basically how much stuff your working memory is holding at once. Research on decision-making and executive burnout keeps pointing to the same pattern. When leaders face constant, repetitive micro-decisions, performance drops and stress goes up. It's not just the big, dramatic choices, it's the endless little ones.
And AI, without standards, is like turning on a faucet of extra micro decisions. Every time a tool spits something out, you're asking, is this even correct? Is it in our voice? Are we allowed to use this data? Did the AI just make that stat up? That's like lifting a 5-pound weight 1,000 times a day.
And here's the thing. When your AI doesn't have clear rules, it can't really own anything. So by default, the CEO becomes the owner of everything. You're reviewing the sales emails, the social posts, the onboarding sequences, the SOP drafts. You become the de facto editor-in-chief, compliance officer, and operations manager.
Exactly. You thought you were buying a digital team. What you actually bought was a digital intern with no training. And because there's no AI governance, no standards, no workflows, the intern keeps dropping half-finished work on your desk like, can you check this real quick?
And that real quick is what burns you out. We've seen, anecdotally and in some early studies, that when there's no structure around AI, executives end up doing more monitoring, more multitasking, more last-minute fixes. They become the single point of failure. If they don't look at it, it doesn't go out.
Let me make that real. Imagine your team runs all client follow-up emails through AI. No guidelines, no playbook. Your ops manager is scared to hit send, so every email comes back to you. Hey, can you just scan this? I told the AI what to say, but I don't know if it sounds right. Now, instead of writing one email yourself, you're reviewing 10 AI emails a day.
And that turns you into the bottleneck. Projects slow down because everyone's waiting on your eyeballs. Launches slip because the CEO hasn't approved the AI drafts. People stop taking initiative because they've learned that nothing moves without your final yes.
Which is wild, because the whole point of bringing in AI was to speed things up. But without standards, you've basically built a bigger traffic jam and then parked yourself right at the front with a whistle and a safety vest. Everything has to funnel through you.
And the cost isn't just delay. It's that chronic sense of, if I miss something, we could be in trouble. That's heavy. Leaders who live in that constant state of vigilance are much more likely to experience burnout symptoms, even if technically they're working the same number of hours as before.
So if you're listening and you feel wired but tired, constantly on, constantly scanning, check if it's really your workload or if it's your decision load, especially around AI, because the problem might not be you. It might be that your AI has no guardrails and you're acting like the human guardrail for everything. Let's talk about this toxic little mantra I keep hearing. If it can be automated, it should be. No, absolutely not. That's how you end up with a robot sending your client a breakup email by accident.
Yes, that mindset is dangerous for CEOs. Not everything should be fully automated. Some things should be assisted, some should be semi-automated, and some should stay firmly human with AI in a supporting role. When you ignore that nuance, Rework goes through the roof.
Because here's what happens when AI runs wild with no boundaries. It starts producing drafts that sound okay at a glance, but they're misaligned with your brand. They're factually shaky, or they just miss the point. So your team spends extra time fixing, rewriting, and clarifying. That's internal rework.
And then there are the classic AI issues, hallucinations, where the AI confidently makes things up, plus tone problems, plus using the wrong examples or outdated information. If you don't give the system rules and constraints, you're asking it to guess, and guessing equals revision.
I see this with content teams a lot. They say, we automated content. Translation. They let AI freestyle everything. It spits out 10 blog posts, but none of them sound like the brand. The calls to action are off, and the stories don't match the audience. So now somebody has to go back and basically rewrite all 10. You didn't save time, you just changed the shape of the pane.
Exactly. And that's the moment where a lot of CEOs start thinking AI doesn't work. But the truth is, AI without boundaries doesn't work. When we come in and tighten things up, give the AI clear rules, good examples, brand voice, and guardrails, what we often see is that internal rework drops significantly. In many cases, by something like 30 to 50%.
And notice what she said. We're not promising magic numbers. We're saying once you give AI instructions, like you would give a good team member, rework can often drop dramatically. Less back and forth, fewer, this isn't what I meant moments, fewer fire drills where you're redoing work the week of a launch.
Because the goal of AI is not automate everything. The goal is automate the right things in the right way with the right checkpoints. Some tasks should be AI first with human review. Some should be human first with AI support. Some should never be fully automated, like high-risk approvals or delicate client conversations.
Let me give a quick example. Fully automating lead nurture emails? Reasonable, with good guardrails and review on the front end. Fully automating refund approvals for big-ticket clients? That's how you end up on somebody's Instagram story, getting dragged. Certain decisions need a human brain, period.
And when CEOs try to automate those high judgment areas, they end up spending even more time cleaning up the mess. That's the explosion of rework we're talking about. You're not just fixing a paragraph, you're fixing relationships, retracing steps, and rebuilding trust.
So instead of, if it can be automated, it should be. I want you to try. If it can be structured, AI can probably help. If it needs discernment, AI should probably support, not replace. That little mindset shift alone can save you from so much unnecessary revision and stress.
Now let's talk about the unsexy word that actually sets you free: governance. And I know it sounds like a corporate compliance seminar, but stay with me. For founders, AI governance just means the policies, prompts, workflows, and review rules everybody follows, so you're not reinventing the wheel every time.
Yeah, think of it like house rules for your AI. Here's what you're allowed to touch. Here's what you're not. Here's how we talk. Here's who has to check what before it leaves the house. Not a 60-page legal doc. Just clear lanes so the tools can actually run without you chasing behind them with a mop.
Let's make this practical for lean leadership teams. First, approve tools. Decide which AI tools your company is allowed to use and for what. No more random free Chrome extensions with unknown data policies. Second, data rules. What kind of client or company information can go into which tool? What's off limits?
Third, review thresholds. Where do we need human in the loop, and where can AI outputs go straight through? For example, maybe social media captions under a certain risk level can be auto-scheduled after a template check, but anything to a top-tier client gets a human review, no exceptions.
Fourth, prompts and templates. If everyone is just typing whatever comes to mind into the AI, you're going to get chaos. Governance means you standardize the best prompts. This is how we ask the AI to write emails. This is our format for recaps. These are our brand voice instructions. So you build a prompt library your team actually uses.
And fifth, workflows. Who kicks off the AI? Who reviews it? Where does it get stored? If the answer is always, send it to the CEO, that's not a workflow. That's a cry for help. Your process should tell people what happens next, so they're not slacking you at 10 p.m. for sign-off.
Now, why does this matter for your well-being? Because the research on tech and well-being keeps pointing to the same thing. Tools only help when they actually simplify and clarify your work. If all AI does is add more tools, more alerts, more ways to make mistakes, your stress goes up, not down.
Exactly. When governance is missing, AI is like handing everyone a power tool with no safety instructions. Yeah, they can go faster, but you're also going to lose some fingers metaphorically. When governance is in place, AI becomes that steady conveyor belt, handing you well-shaped tasks you can approve in minutes instead of hours.
And here's the key. Governance is not about control for control's sake. It's about protecting your attention. Every standard you set is one less micro decision you personally have to make. Instead of, how do we do this? The answer becomes, follow the rule. That's how AI starts carrying the load instead of you carrying the AI.
So if you're a lean team, start small. One page that says, here are our AI tools. Here's what data they see. Here's what must be reviewed by a human before it goes out. And here are 3 prompts everybody uses. That alone can start to lower your decision load this month, not next year. All right, let's shift gears into something I love. Moving you from being the system to designing the system. AI is not supposed to be your replacement. It's an enablement tool. And the structure that tells AI where it lives in your business, that's where Dr. Kim's S.C.A.L.E RX comes in.
Yeah, when I talk about S.C.A.L.E RX, I'm talking about a framework that helps you decide, where does AI plug in? What does it own? What does it assist? And what does it leave alone? Because if you are still the system, meaning you personally double-check everything, you will burn out. If the system supports you, you scale.
Let's make that concrete. Right now, a lot of CEOs are in this mode. Every AI email, every AI-generated report, every AI-produced piece of content flows to them for final approval. They're the last stop. That's I am the system.
The shift we want is the system enforces our standards. I only review exceptions. So instead of everything landing on your desk, you design layers of checks inside your CRM, inside your Rainmaker suite, inside your workflows, so that 80% of the work flows through automatically. And you only see the 20% that's unusual or high risk.
Let's walk a scenario. Lead follow-up. Old way. Leads come in, AI drafts these generic emails, your team doesn't fully trust them, so they forward them to you. Can you tweak this real quick? You're adjusting tone, fixing offers, changing links. You're now the bottleneck for revenue.
S.C.A.L.E RX way. You define the journey. New lead goes into your Rainmaker suite. AI uses a pre-approved script library for different lead types with your exact tone and offer logic built in. The system automatically sends follow-ups based on clear rules: time since last contact, lead score, interest tags. The only time you're pinged is if a VIP lead replies with a complex question or a high-ticket proposal is needed.
So now, instead of eyeballing every email, you're designing the follow-up rules once, and then you're just reviewing edge cases when they pop up. That's architect energy, not firefighter energy.
Another quick scenario, content approvals. Old way, AI drafts posts, your VA loads them, and then you, the CEO, feel like you have to read every caption before it goes live. Guess when you do that? At 11:47 p.m. on the couch, half asleep.
New way with structure. You create an AI-ready content guideline, voice, topics, forbidden phrases, calls to action. You train your AI and your team on that. Then you set a rule. Any post that follows the standard template can be auto-approved after a peer review. Only off-template posts or sensitive topics get escalated to you.
Same concept for internal reporting. Instead of asking your ops person to run the numbers and send me something, you design an AI-assisted dashboard. AI pulls data into a consistent format, highlights exceptions, missed KPIs, unusual patterns, and you review that summary. You're not scrolling through raw spreadsheets. You're evaluating curated insights.
So S.C.A.L.E RX is basically you stepping into architect mode. You decide, where does AI sit? What data does it see? What rules does it follow? When does it tap a human? That's how you stop being the system and start owning the system.
And when you do that, AI becomes a real extension of your business, not a needy intern. It enforces your standards at scale, so your brain is reserved for leadership, not line editing.
Let's land this with a simple blueprint. If you're feeling cooked, but you've also got AI all over your business, here's where I want you to start this quarter. Not this decade, this quarter.
Step 1, audit where you're acting as quality control. Literally list the AI-assisted areas where things have to come through you. Emails, proposals, client messages, content, reports. Anywhere you feel that little tug of, I need to look at this before it goes out. That's your hidden QA workload.
Step 2, define your non-automatable decisions. These are the calls that always need a human. Pricing exceptions, firing decisions, sensitive client escalations, major brand statements. Write them down. This tells your team and your AI, these are sacred. We do not fully automate these.
Step 3, add concrete guardrails. For each area you listed in step 1, decide, what's the approved tool? What data can it see? What's the minimum standard for output? Where is human in the loop? And who specifically is that human, because it can't always be you?
And be specific, not vague. Instead of AI helps with emails, you write, AI drafts initial client follow-ups using prompt X. Account manager reviews for tone. Only VIP or high-risk replies get escalated to me. That's how decisions move from your head into the system.
Step 4, measure your relief. Over the next 30 to 60 days, track a few simple signals. Are you doing fewer late-night checks? Are you seeing fewer last-minute revisions on AI-generated work? Are there fewer "this isn't what I asked for" conversations? Do people know who approves what without always asking you?
You can even do a quick weekly gut check. On a scale of 1 to 10, how mentally drained do I feel at the end of the day? How many times did I have to jump in as the final editor this week? If those numbers start dropping, that's your nervous system saying, thank you for giving me my life back.
And as you do this, remember the leadership shift we've been talking about. If you are still the system, if everything depends on your brain, your eyes, your approval, you will burn out no matter how many AI tools you buy. If the system supports you, you can scale without sacrificing your health.
Look, you didn't become a CEO just to become the world's most overqualified proofreader for a bunch of chatbots. Your job is to design the game, not play every position. Let AI and your systems hold more of the weight so you can actually lead.
And we're going to keep unpacking how to do that, how to build AI-enabled systems that respect your time, your energy, and your well-being in future episodes.